Morning, everybody. How everybody doing? Everybody here? Everybody signed in already? All right, a little bit about myself. I'm Major Elliott with the VA Police Department. I transferred here in December from DOD. I was a police officer with the Department of Defense, and active shooter is my baby. I've been trained to active shooter for probably 13 years now. Unfortunately, it's one of those events and topics that we always got to stay ahead of because unfortunately it happens all the time. So hopefully today you guys get some training, some education, your home, not just at work. Teach to your spouse, your loved ones, your kids, give everybody the knowledge to active shooter. At any time you guys got questions, just raise your hand and I answer to the best of my ability. We'll go through the presentation. You'll see RAD information brief on here, which is where I used to be at, where we're in the Army Depot, but it's the same training as the person. Run, hide, fight is basically the premise of everything. Run, hide, fight. You can't remember anything else. Remember run, hide, fight. And run if you can safely do so. If you can't safely do so, barricade yourself wherever you are at that moment. If it's a short room, a small room, a closet, wherever it is, you can run and get safe. Also, talk to your supervisor. If you have to run and you leave the hospital, where do you go? Where's your safe haven? If you're confused on that as well, look for police. If you find police, we will have a safe haven area for you. We've got to vet everybody, just run to a police officer and follow all commands from there. Different active shooting events. I'm pretty sure a lot of you probably remember Columbine happened a long time ago. That's one of the things that kicked off active shooting. I'm also a certified alert instructor, advanced law enforcement rapid response training. In San Marcos, Texas, extreme training. They beat me up for about a week. Great training. I go back and I teach training all the time. But that's what kicked off the alert school, Columbine. Because the first law enforcement was trained to active shooting event, the first police on scene, all thing they do is set up a perimeter. They set up a perimeter, roadblocks, watch traffic, and wait for the SWAT team to get there. When the SWAT team gets there, it's probably been 2 hours. Active shooting event is going on for too long now. People are dying. So all the think tanks around the world got together and created alert, advanced law enforcement rapid response training, which means if there's an active shooting in Shreveport PD can show up, Tiffin County PD can show up, Monroe PD can show up, and we all have the exact same training. We know how we're supposed to enter that school, enter that hospital, enter that school.
I don't know what I've been.
So we know how to do everything on one accord, and not one police department doing one thing, somebody else is doing another. Cops, right? Buffalo, New York. That's where the 18-year-old walks to the grocery store, killed 11 out of 13 people, and 11 of them was of color. It was a racist. It was a racist shooting. He's in jail right now. Robb Elementary, the shooting. We all remember that. Horrible event. Why prepare for an active shooting incident? So you can have some type of awareness on how you need to perform during an active shooting event. So you just won't go crazy and get your feet, as we stand law enforcement, stuck in the mud. You know what you're supposed to do. If you are in a room, and there's 3 or 4 you guys in the room, turn the lights off, shut the door. The cell phone, do not turn your cell phone off, put it on vibrate. If you're still in your right frame of mind, put the cell phone on vibrate, not turn it off. And once again, call police, but only when you can safely do so. If you can't safely do so, don't worry about calling police at that moment. We probably already know about the event anyway, but your safety is very important. So if you're in a short room, there's 4 or 5 people in there, top of your room, get coffee, whatever the case may be. If somebody walk out of their room, as soon as they walk out, you hear the gunfire. After the shooting event starts, do not open that door, do not let them back in. I don't care if it's your sister, your mother, somebody you go to church with. If they walk out that door and you hear gunfire, they stay out there. But who's to say when that person walked out that room, they didn't trigger the active shooting thing? Usually when there's one active shooter, there's 2. They may not be shooting a weapon, but they may be a part of the whole scheme. So until we vet everybody, and we don't know that, barricade that door, leave them out there. I don't care if they're beating on the door and screaming, they stay out. And whoever's in that room, assign positions. You go for the throat. You go for the groin. You go for the head. already have this plan in place in case that shooter does make entry into their room. And you follow through with your commitment. You don't want him just to bust the door open and you're in there, stuck in mud, everybody screaming, because you're all probably gonna die. So we'll have some type of plan in place. If there's one person in there who is scared, don't want to participate, move to the next person. Go for the head, go for the groin, pick up a chair, commit to your action. Because you owe it to yourself and your family to get home at night. That individual has already given up all their rights when they walk into that establishment, taking people's lives against their will. So you owe it to yourself and your family to get home. So that's why it's important to prepare for that shooting event. Downtown Dallas, Vegas, grocery store, which was Tops I just talked about, elementary schools in Overton, Texas. It can happen, and unfortunately, it does happen. For years, it happened at a lot of churches. Now, it's schools, a lot of schools, usually kindergarten up to about high school. Active shooters are like bullies. Bullies like to bully people that's not going to fight back. Active shooters take the most vulnerable targets they can. They're not going to go into a military base. They have a small percentage because everybody here is trained. They're going to go somewhere where people can be scared and scared. So percentages. Schools pre-K to 12th grade, 15.2%. As you notice, businesses open to pedestrian traffic, 43%. Why businesses like that? It's easy targets. Just walk in the mall and shoot scared people. Schools, once again, I talked about that. It's always elementaries, middle school, because they figure the kids is kind of scared. They're going to scream, they're going to cry, and they're going to shoot. So those are some unfortunate percentages. Active shooter events are used spontaneous, very true. They happen at any given moment. A lot of times they're not planned out. People think they're planned out, they're not. Just run an employee. Ticked off with their supervisor. They go home, think about it, come to work, shoot everybody in the office. Usually spontaneous, they always usually know their environment as well. It's not completely random all the time. Just run an employee. So if you see somebody at work one day, they're acting strange. I mean strange. You've been knowing them for years, they're not acting right. Go to your supervisor. Like, hey, I don't know. He's not acting right. He might have a lot of stress on him, whatever. Let the supervisor figure that out. Supervisors can't figure it out, and they think this person may become active shooter. They call police department, and then we do our investigation. But a lot of times these signs are overlooked. Not just come to work and you don't like this person, you go to your supervisor. Make sure you think it's really legit. And with this being a hospital, do you know what gunshot sound like? There's a lot of noise in the hospital. We're talking law enforcement. You hear something that sounds like a gunshot, if you hear it once, then you hear it 2 and 3 times, treat it as a gunshot. Somebody shoot a weapon, and at that point, you shelter in place. Go in the room, you barricade the door. Know your environment as well. Don't just put furniture in front of the door that I can just pull the door open from the outside and kick it out the way and walk in. So make sure when you barricade the door, it's where the shooter cannot get in that room. Cell phones, vibrate. I keep stressing that. Put the cell phone vibrate, not turn it off. Because you're going to need that cell phone at some point in time. Barricade the door. Windows. Can you get out the windows? How big are the windows? How do they open? When they come up, when they slide open, do you have some type of physical ailment where you can't get out the window? There's people who work in offices for years and have no idea of the layout of the office. So you may need that one day. When you out at restaurants with your children at night, your husband, your wife, if you go to a restaurant, where do you sit? Do you sit with your back to the windows, back to the exit and the entry points? Never do. Always have a way out. See who's coming in and out of the restaurant. There's a restaurant where you can only go in one way. If it is, get yourself somewhere in that restaurant where you can see what's going on. Just in case somebody do come in there and the food is full, they want to shoot the chef. You never know. Target-rich environment. What's a target-rich environment? That's different to everybody. If it wasn't happening here, you would think the target-rich environment would be Overton main hospital. It could be the dental clinic. It could be the water plant. It just depends on what that individual has in mind, what he's trying to do. Active shooter events are usually over within 10 minutes. Do not get that drum in your head. Just because you don't hear anything going on for 10, 12, 15 minutes, it's quiet. Usually after 10 minutes, an active shooter event turns into a barricaded subject, hostile situation. So if it's quiet, you don't hear anything, stay where you are. shelter in place, doors locked, lights off, cell phones on vibrate once you actually stress it there. Stay where you are. You will absolutely know when it's safe for you to come out. The law enforcement will go room to room, beating on doors, get head count, so you would know when it's safe for you to come out of your environment. This is not the time to be nosy. I'm not saying nobody's here to nosy, but this is not the time to be rubbernecking, sticking your head out the door, trying to see what's going on. A lot of active shooters also are suicidal. When they go to that event, they don't expect to leave. They're going to do damage and kill themselves. Law enforcement get on scene, they never give us the glory, let us take them out. They always kill themselves. But not all of them. Some of them just want to go to jail, proof for it. But once again, within 10 minutes, if you don't hear anything, it's quiet, stay in place. Do not go anywhere. Talk about the diversion as well. Hopefully, the active shooter is not ex-police or ex-military. Because they probably know every tactic we're going to deploy to come get it. So usually when that happens, it's a bad day for everybody. But diversion, they could create a traffic accident in a parking garage to draw law enforcement to the parking garage. But really their intent is to walk in the main hospital to start doing work. So, but we're trained for that. We kind of expect that. If it was a unfortunate event like that was happening, we got to handle it. Trust me. Anybody got any questions on the slide? Responsible active shooter requires a survival mindset. What is a survival mindset? Leave. You want to go home at night. You want to go fishing this weekend. So you have to survive that event. And it starts in your mind. You got to do better than me. You can tell yourself you're sick, and you're sick. If you're one of the people who call in to work twice every pay period, and all of a sudden you try to come to work the whole pay period, your body tells you what you're doing. You got to call in twice. It's mental. So you got to have a survival mindset. Awareness. You're getting awareness right now. Cell phones. Put them on vibrate. I keep stressing it that people have lost their life on cell phones. If you leave something, if you run out of the room and you can actually run safely and you get out of the hospital, you can get your purse, something like that, leave it. You can get it after you get it over. Do not risk your life to go back to get a purse or a cell phone. And please don't buy one. You guys see those cell phones that look like a gun? Don't buy one of those. They got cell phones that actually look like a weapon. You buy that, you can lose your life. So leave all your personal belongings behind. Get out of there as safe as possible. And if you do make exit, there's people walking in. Tell them, hey, do not go in there, somebody shoot, and keep going. If they don't want to listen, they've been hard-headed, and they still want to run, let them go. You keep running to your safe area. Do not feel you try to stop them, hold them from going inside, let them go. You know, I already told them, you know, warn them, go safe. Prepared versus not prepared. You can be prepared, you get the training, you can hear me, listen to me talk about country accent for an hour, and you still may ignore it. But you want to be prepared, so at least you know if you have to run, leave your personal belongings. At least you know if you're stuck inside the room, put your cell phone on vibrate. At least you know if you're stuck inside the room, assign position what you guys need to do in case somebody makes entry into that room. So it just won't be a big, oh wow. I talked about what gunshots sound like, preparation, to being prepared now, getting education on how to survive an actual shooting event. Rehearse it in your mind. What would you do? I told my kids, they're in college now, I told them, when you go places, when you walk in a room, before I walk through any door, I look down, up, left, and right. I don't just walk the doors. I look down, I look up as I go through. I've been doing it so long, all my years military and police. I'm not gonna step on anything. So be cognizant if you walk in rooms, look around. 540, go 360, you get to 180 up and down. If you're prepared, you can still have storm and fear. You can be too prepared where you're anxious to get involved into that event. That can get you hurt as well. So use smart on that. Recall what you have learned from the training. Be prepared to act. Prepared to act. Once again, sign those conditions. Somebody make entry, you follow through. If you person with the chair will hit them in the head, take the head off. Don't just hit them, because stats show if you just try to hit an active shooter, not the weapon out their hand as you run, you're just gonna pick it up and shoot in your back if you're trying to escape. That's why they say commit to your act. Go ahead and take them out. They lost all their rights, killing innocent people. and you or your family get home at night. Commit to that action. They're running, they're evacuating. So once again, get with your supervision, or whoever your training person is, and you must have to leave this hospital, where do you go? What area do you muster up in? If they don't know, then call police department, or what the case be, or look for police once you get to where you're going. And never, ever, ever interfere with a team that's coming through to clear rooms or to stop the active shooter. You guys see me every day walk through the hospital. That's not the time of, Ellie, leave me alone. Keep your hands where I can see them, keep them high. Don't have them around your waist. Keep your hands high so we'll know that you're not a threat. There's going to be confusion. Nobody's going to know what's going on. And we don't know who is who at that point. We don't know if you're involved. We have no idea. So, like our team, when I'm in Red River, I may be coming through with the team. I may see you run the hallway. I may jump. What do you see? What do they look like? What are they wearing? If you don't know nothing, I'm going to push you out the way. I'm going to keep pushing for that event. That could happen if we're not a little clear on who we're living. But if you don't know, don't just make up stuff. Because people say, oh, he's 5'3", Hispanic, when he's really 6'7", African American. Your eyes see different things when you're afraid. So if you have information, if not, leave that team alone, let us clear. So we're going to come through. If somebody's wounded in the element, all thing we're going to do is reassure them, help us on the way. We're going to step over and keep pushing to the target. Our number one objective is to neutralize the shooter. Right? We're the man representative. So they do have new training out there. We have RF teams now, where we have a medical personnel. I'll do some of the EMT squad. They train with the SWAT team. They actually make entry with us. So we push them through an event. We see somebody that's hurt. They will break off and treat that person while the rest of the team neutralize the threat. But, you know.
But Major Ellie, we work in a hospital. How can I just step over the wounded? How come I can't try to help?
If we don't step over the wound, we will land the rest of the silent. And we can't come say the rest of the people we haven't been hurt yet. I know it sounds insensitive to a lot of people. That's what it is. We're there to neutralize the threat. We are reassuring. That's what we're going to do. And we do have what we call backup teams. We will be making contact with their team. The team is designed, if one of us go down, they can come to the event, replace the team, and we keep pushing for our shooting. So if I see somebody that's shot, I'm going to reassure him, help us on the way, I'm going to step over, I'm going to keep going. After the event is over, we have neutralized the threat, we will double back, we'll get that person treated, we'll get them out of that fire. Yes.
People will be thinking, I need to alert everybody that.
Never put a fire on. You know what it does? Usually when you have fire drills, what do people do? Walk out talking about what they're going to do Saturday. I'm going to Dallas, I'm going to spend some money at Big TV and I'll stay person. Because you train your mind to treat it as nothing. And it also it can cause panic. I ain't going out, whatever. Or you can scare everybody. So never put a fire on. I know it seems like to do it, but a lot of people probably not going to even react to it. If they're going to leave their office, this is too important. They're not going to do it. Or a supervisor's not going to hold their feet to the fire and make it clear everything. So never put a fire on. Once again, we don't attempt to move the injured personnel. I know it'd be hard, but this is a hospital environment. You got to save lives, I understand. But in the active shooter event, get it safe.
And the number is 6911 or 5.
Well, those numbers, that's a Red River. So here it's called on the department here. So I couldn't change those numbers. So.
What about a panic button for the computer?
Yes.
That goes straight to your.
Yes, ma'am. Push the panic button, still is going. But once again, if it's active shooter and you're hurt gunfire, you know, you got to think. More likely if it happens upstairs and you know it's upstairs and you don't think it's just down the hallway, and you absolutely know it's on the 5th floor and you're on the 3rd floor, get out. Exit the hospital, find a police officer. So at some point, we will get a head count and figure out who we got while the rest of us supposed to clear this hospital. We will go through every single room, office, door, everything. So don't get impatient, because people will. What happens? Usually in an event like that, everybody's outside. Well, some people may even get handcuffed. They may get temporarily detained until we clear that event. It's just gonna cause territory. I know you gotta throw stones later, but that's just what could happen during an active shooting event. Hide if you can safely do so. And hide where you can actually hide. Some people get so scared, they would crawl up under this table. I can see you, I'm gonna shoot you. Hide where I can't see you, or hide where you're absolutely protected. Avoid locations that may trap you or restrict your movement. Short closets, things like that. Stats also say an active shooter, if he's coming down this hallway and his door is locked, he's not gonna come in. He's gonna pull the door, it's locked, guess what he's gonna do? He's gonna keep going. He's gonna go to an easy, soft target. But if he's adamant about coming in this room, oh, he's gonna get somebody. If he's making sure he can get in this room and he knows somebody's in this room, he's coming to get a specific person. But usually they're gonna go down the hallway, pull the door, it's unlocked, they're going to shoot. If it's barricaded, they're gonna go somewhere easy. The bullying mentality. A bully will bully somebody that's not gonna fight back. If you're gonna fight back, the bully's not gonna miss it. They're gonna go somebody they can scare. Fight, absolutely last resort. Once again, if you get to the stage where you have to fight, that's exactly what you do. You go home at night, you owe it to your family. Hopefully this never happens, but once again, mention your action. They've already been signed. He got the chair, they got this. So they already know if he was to make entry into their room, what they got to do to take that person out. Use anything that you have to. What you report, location, fifth floor, such office, blah, blah, blah. But report accurate information, not what somebody else told you, what you saw. At the same time, don't get too caught up in giving that exact description. Oh, he had a white serial number, such. You don't need all that. He just had a long gun in his hand. He's wearing a yellow shirt and some black pants. Don't get yourself killed trying to tell me the nomenclature of that weapon. You understand what I'm saying? So report what you can. How many of you saw? One people, maybe two. Don't forget that though. I think it's two of them. If you saw one person with it, just one person with it. It just makes it a little bit easier for us. Type of weapon, scars, anything you guys can see. It's like somebody had an accident outside. They call the police to make a report. What were they driving? I don't know. They just don't think that way. I guess law enforcement, police, we think that way. We look, oh, he had a Cutlass, he had a 1999 Cadillac, whatever. But that's other information you also need to help us in that situation. DACP is where I came from, Department of Armed Civilian Police. Obey all commands of law enforcement officers. Keep your hands where you can see them, please. But once again, it's gonna be a crazy scene. If we're coming out the hallway and no guns may be pointed at you as well. We're not specifically pointing at you, but we're coming down the hallway on site and you're running up the hallway. Once again, get to the sides of the hallway. Never ever attempt to penetrate the team. So we'll be coming through in certain formations. Stay away from the team and keep your hands where you can see them and run to safety. And once again, we may have weapons pointed towards you. The responding officer will not treat the injured. The responding officer will not treat the injured. Once again, we're going to reassure and keep pushing to our objective. Remain calm, follow instructions. If you raise your hands or spread your fingers, keep your hands where we can see them. Purses, phones, jackets, leave that stuff behind. You can get another purse, get another phone, get another jacket. You can't get another one. No quick movement towards officers. Don't grab the officers. Don't ask the officer for help, directions. When evacuate, move in the direction the officers are pointing. Run safe. The correct way, the fire alarm way. So the correct way, keep your hands over the ceiling and get yourself to safety. Don't do that. Especially if you know that person ain't ready. Go for knock off person, you know what I'm saying? You gotta need to find. run, hide, fight. And this training, not this particular training, but you can go to YouTube. They got the run, hide, fight videos there all day long. You can watch them. They got new training coming out all the time, but run, hide, fight. Run if you can safely do so. Hide somewhere where you can actually hide. Fight, absolutely last resort, but if you gotta fight, become the best fighter in the world. Speak something, say something, anything can hit you. Once again, acute events are very spontaneous. A lot of times they're not thought of, there's somebody that's just wrong. They come back to work and they start shooting people. I was talking about that earlier, RTL, Rescue Task Force, is where an actual medic trains with the SRT SWAT team. And they actually make entry with the SRT SWAT team. And we encounter somebody that's wounded, they'll peel off and they'll treat that person. And our backup team will come right back in and backfill us as we keep pushing through the objectives. Any questions on active shooting? If you do, I'm here every day. You guys can email me, teams, or whatever the case may be. If you got any questions, take this training home to your family as well. Just tell them, go to these restaurants, where do you sit? You work in these offices. Do you have to get out of that office, can't get the door? Do you have windows in there? What floor are you on? Can you crawl out the window, out of the window? It doesn't operate at all. Damn shut. You got people who really don't know these things. They've been working in areas. Any questions, Emilio or Chief?
So with the high status of this, that in the room, they lock the door, lock the lights, the turn off, or have designated rooms, one like safe room here, that this is the room that the door will lock behind you. Because some rooms, I know it's a five room.
I would have a designated safe room. The event happens in that room or next to that room. So you got to keep your head on a swivel during that shooting. You don't want to get caught up to run to a certain place in the hospital, but if the event is happening on that wing or in that vicinity. So it'll be one of those things, if you hear it, the sound will come from where the cafeteria is down here, you're gonna shut those doors, they will follow. I'll turn the lights off and we'll go and make a notification to the police. That's what you do there. And once again, the stats show, you come down this hallway, even though there's no people in the room, barricaded, he's not gonna spend a lot of time there because what he knows police is over there. So if he's got an objective he's trying to do, or if his objective is to kill whoever he can see, then he'll probably kill himself for it. Anybody else, anything?
What are the numbers to call for an emergency?
Call the police department, 77, they get you to us. If you are out of town, you dial 911, it's the same thing. If you see something that's out of town, you dial 911, use the same training involved. You may see it from afar, and you get the police all the information you can so they can get to that event. Just in case the people inside that event are scared. It's got to be spontaneous. It's not you're gonna get a heads up if somebody can walk in. So just try to remember, get yourself safe. Call 911 when you can safely do so. Not running down the hallway trying to call the police. Until you can safely get somewhere safe, then they call 911. You got anything you want to say about that?
6911 also, 6911 is probably a little bit more easier, associate the 911. 6911.
From cell phone, 6911.
If you call from your cell phone, you're gonna get treated.
Yeah, from VA phone.
You still gonna be treated.
Was the 691?
I'm not sure if the VA phones works as far as, if you're in the hospital, 990, some of that 990 exchange, I don't know if some of them reach, actually, I call 990-70-70, man,
He's mad.
he got mad.
They started
I
issuing,
told y'all I'm not committed, but.
yeah, they started issuing out, I guess, phone companies started issuing out some 990 numbers. So you can call individuals instead of us. Unfortunately, some of those actually are real close to police department numbers.
So we're kind of a unique building out here, we're all taught not to abandon our patients. advice on what we should barricade,
Barricade.
barricade thing.
If it's been a hospital, that is definitely one of the questions I knew was gonna happen. And leave a patient somewhere that's sick, maybe down where the case be, like a barricade in that room, same concept apply. Shut the door, barricade it, turn the lights off, cell phone, we're supposed to get there, so we're confident, we're confident we're on our way. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Is our officers here trained to handle that kind of situation?
Yes, ma'am. Everybody been to the Federal Police Academy? Active shooter is one of the babies of the police academy. And being the chief, we've been to specialty schools for, we train officers on it all the time. Every officer is trained in active shooter.
Also, a lot of individuals don't see the kind of weapons we have because they only see us with pistols. That's not necessarily true. We do have long guns. It's the same thing that active shooter uses. Yeah. We just, walking around with a long gun in the hospital doesn't look particularly inviting. So we don't necessarily, patrol with them. They are in our cars. We do have, locations in the hospital we can access.
Ma'am,
Go ahead.
to give you an idea, I did 27 years with Bossier Police Department. All we had to do was shoot 60 rounds a year. That's it. Our handgun, 60 rounds to qualify. Nothing else was required. Here, we had to shoot minimum 800 rounds a year with a pistol and 200 rounds with a rifle. And our training is far more intense here than the Bossier Police Department.
Yeah, police department also.
Is there somewhere people can get the active shooter card?
They are working on, Mr. Taylor's working on that now. We've contacted the publisher. He's got the quote. He's getting ready to order.
Like Mr. Taylor, yeah, okay. Exactly what you just said.
Keep on picking spiritual butt, I think I'm done.
We know it's coming.